Dear Tyler, how are you? Ah, I really hope you're good. It's really nice to get to talk to you again. I remember apparently in the previous podcast that I shared, I said that it's like 1 week or so long. But then this week that just passed actually was a lot different. Um, so let me start with an apology. I'm sincerely sorry for not giving you all the updates that I usually do, the captions and all. There are things that I decided to make a habit of doing. So I have a reason why it didn't happen, but it's not an excuse, right? So, but let me share my reason as the intro for today. So on Friday, my friend David Dam had a ministration in Warri, so I went together with him. As we got into Warri, we're taken to the lodge, freshened up, rested a bit, freshened up, and then got in for his first session of ministrations. And after that, we went straight back to the lodge, exhausted and all, slept. Then he had an early morning session, so we got ready for that. After the session, we took a road trip to Benin City so that we'd be able to get our flight back to Abuja. So after we got into Abuja, almost immediately as we got into the airport, it took like a few minutes. Then we boarded our flight. We got into Abuja from the airport. After getting something to eat, we went straight into rehearsals, which was all night. It's pretty stressful. After rehearsals, came home, slept a bit, and then had to move in for service. After service, came back rested, the whole fatigue and all, stretched into Monday, then had rehearsals on Monday, and then for me, on Tuesday, had rehearsals. After that, I went to help a friend of mine, Paula. She's doing like a very, very awesome artwork in restaurants in Abuja. Really, really awesome. So went, hung out with her a bit and helped her, did a little bit of painting, which was quite fun. Then Wednesday, I now had rehearsals in the morning down to evening. So it's been a very, very hectic week. I've not really had those spaces that help me to produce a lot of those captions, but I'm working on a system that makes it a lot more efficient. So this is me saying that I'm sincerely sorry you didn't get all of those updates, but I'm definitely working on it. So thank you for your understanding. The series has been awesome. A lot of things have been spoken. A lot of things have been shared. I really appreciate your feedback. Every time when I get to hear how much it's been a blessing to you, how much it's been helping you, I don't think I'll ever get tired of saying it. So it's very, very encouraging. It's very, very encouraging. And I really do hope that beyond just the fact that they're valuable pieces of information, I really do hope that there is a change happening in you, that it's really causing, it really has an effect on you, right? That it's affecting you positively and bringing about a major change. So for today's podcast, I don't think it's going to be so long. So the topic for today's podcast is who told you? Who told you? We've been having, really fun times, I think last week's one was, what do you see? And then on this one is, who told you? this one is who told you. And it really came to me. I think I wanted to talk about something else, but then it was really laid heavily on me during Koinonia service on Sunday, while the message was being preached. This topic, who told you, really was impressed in me to share. And I'll take us through the story that led to it, the fall of man. God had commanded Adam and Eve, based on Bible context, right? So God had commanded Adam and Eve that they could eat of any fruit in the garden except of the fruit in the center of the garden, and the tree of the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. And that was the only tree that they were not permitted to eat from, but any other tree. And coincidentally, a lot of people don't know that there were two trees in the center of the garden. There was the tree of life and then the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. They were both in the center, but they were commanded to eat one, or rather permitted to eat one, and then restrained from taking out of the other. And eventually, after the whole saga happened, Eve ate of the fruit and then shared it with Adam, and then all of a sudden their eyes were opened and they found out that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves and they hid themselves. And then the story continues to say that, and God, walking the cool of the day, as his custom was with them, coming to have communion with them, asked a question. He was like, "Okay, Adam, where are you?" And Adam said, "I hid from you because I found out that I was naked." And the question that God asked them was not, how did you know you were naked? The first question he asks is, who told you? Who told you? It's, I think it carries a lot of weight. It's something that needs to be critically looked at. That the first question that God asked them was about the information that they received. Because they were always naked, but the consciousness of that nakedness was not there. The consciousness of that nakedness was never there. So what information did they receive that so made the fact that they were naked pronounced? It means that there was a truth before them that was substituted by another information. The consciousness of their nakedness was brought before them. It means that there was something there before that so blocked them from their nakedness, right? That them being naked was not so much of an issue. But a new information was passed over to them that the priority was now more on the fact that, wow, we really don't have clothes. So they moved from the spiritual senses into the more physical sense. And like I said, it really got me thinking. Because it's not like they were clothed in anything before. It's just that their consciousness was never on the fact that they were naked. I remember within the week, I found myself asking myself this question: who taught you fear? it was a very paramount question for me. Who taught you fear? So let's look at how Adam and Eve were while they were in the garden. They had no consciousness of their nakedness. One, they had no consciousness of danger. They had no consciousness of fear. Everything that they did stemmed from love. We never heard that there was a conflict between the two, or anything like personality differences, or it seemed like within that period where they stayed within the laws and the commands of God, they were able to live a life to a certain extent. So it means that they were living on a superior knowledge. There was a certain knowledge that they had, certain information that they had been given by default that sponsored the reality of the life that they lived. The moment they switched that information, a new life began to work in them, right? And so you could see that they had the conflict, they started blaming each other. There was this consciousness to weakness, consciousness to frailty. There was a higher awareness to the toils and perils of this world. And like I said, while I was just really thinking about it, I just came to the realization that the information that you receive, the information that you brood on, really plays a major role in your belief system, and also generally in the reality that you would live or you would experience. There are certain things as we grew up in life, right, that taught us fear, or taught us about limitations, what I can't do, what I can do, what I'm capable of. Now, the information doesn't have to be just words alone. They could be experiences. So sometimes experiences can come over and send send an information to you that tells you that, wow, you are limited or you have issues. That there could be challenges, that there are things that could stop you. So I thought about it and I was like, imagine if there was this this, let's say maybe this like controlled environment where from birth the children are taught that nothing is impossible. That I think there's this book by Ted Decker, it should be Blessed Child, where he was brought up in a monastery, and in that monastery he was only taught about the goodness of the world. He was taught about possibilities. So he never knew anything about, like, let's say, sickness. He didn't know anything about pain. He didn't know anything about sorrow. So him meeting somebody that was, let's say, crippled, right? It was an abnormality for him. And I was like, no, I know that people shouldn't be crippled. There is a provision for health. So he looks at a crippled person as an abnormality, and therefore has, because of the information he has that energy to bring him into that same reality that he shares, right? Peter and John, during the hour of prayer, right, he had come into the consciousness because of the new information he had received. Because of the new information he had received, he looked at somebody that was crippled and was like, nah, this is wrong. What I have, I give to you in the name of Jesus, rise up and walk. There's so many examples of people that have either risen to new heights because of the new information, because of information that they received, or had entered into greater lows because of that information. So I'll share a story with you. And I've been writing songs for a very long time. I started writing, I've been writing songs for like 21 years now. And I remember when I first shared a song with a friend of mine, he told me, he said, man, I don't really like your songs. Like, your songs they're not really nice and all. And I actually felt like, wow, I don't have things that are good enough. Until I actually was, I spoke to a friend and she was like, no, come on, we're going to sing your song during a music concert. I don't have anything to do about it. I was like, no, we're not going to do it. And she was like, no, you're going to do it. And then she now went and told one of our senior friends, and then he insisted that we do the song. And we ended up doing it. And this, my friend, that initially told me that I didn't really like this song, was like, man, this song is so beautiful. I didn't know it was this nice. You were sorry about it, right? Now, the fact that I was willing to receive his viewpoint didn't mean that what he said was true, but because I was able to, or I was willing to receive it, it means I was willing to make it my own personal reality. There are a lot of things, there are a lot of limitations that we have accepted, not because we are unable to actually achieve those things, but because we have accepted we've accepted the verdict of people. The truth is that a lot of times people will tell you what they can't do, what they are incapable of doing. Trust me, if you find somebody that is actually achieving something in a certain light, they would never tell you it's impossible. You're a baker, or maybe you're a baker, and somebody meets you and tells you that I've been having challenges, making that perfect cake or making that perfect pastry. And you would never be the one that would say that it's impossible to make perfect pastry or you're incapable of it. No, because somehow you've had that track record. You're a living testimony, right? You're a proof that you can actually perfect that skill. So because you have broken through the limitations, you don't see it. It doesn't work for you. And so it could shock you, like, I wonder how people cannot even bake a perfect cake. It looks simple for you to do, right? But it's because of the information that you've received. You're living that reality. So like I said, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to meet somebody achieving something that will tell you it's impossible to achieve that thing. Most of the naysayers that you'll get in life, most of the people that will tell you that you're incapable of living your dreams, pursuing your passion, or being great or doing something spectacular, are people that have either accepted the limitation for themselves, or people that have experienced failure to the extent that it's no longer an event, but then it's almost like their world, their reality generally. So the question I'm posing to you, Tyler, today is, what is it that you have heard that has sponsored your very belief? Who are you listening to? Things may be difficult for you, doesn't mean it's impossible for you to come out of it. The truth is that you've not just gotten the proper information that would liberate you from that challenge. Who told you, Tyler, that you can't be great? Who told you that you can't achieve success in life? Who told you that you were not meant for something more? Who told you that you were a waste? Who told you that you won't amount to anything? Whose verdict is your priority? The part of scripture says, whose report would you believe? There is the one that loves you, the one that created you, formed you, and placed every possibility within you, that speaks forth his intentions, his heart desire to you consistently. And he tells you that there is greater in you. And then there are other people, because of the limitation of their own life, they project that same limitation to you. Who are you giving your allegiance to? Generally in life, what you see and what you hear really influences you. I was talking to a friend the other day while we're working on her painting and all. And I told her that if you have a good example of family life, it's going to be really easy for you to live out that same reality, right? So if you had that good example of how family life should be parenting, there's a higher tendency that you would live, you would also have a very good parenting record also, because there's an example, the reference point to your ideologies of parenting is good. Now, if you come out from a terrible parenting background, it means that a whole lot of information has been flooded into you that has made you think the way you are. So you came out from the bad parenting situation. There is a tendency that you would feel that marriage is hard, relationships are difficult, you may be incapable of keeping your spouse or making your spouse happy or whatever it is, right? That is part of the information that has been fed to you. Now it is your responsibility to find someone that is living what you desire and then receive of their information and make that information your priority. Right? Make that information your priority. Let me end with this. The president of Canada, I think it's Justin Trudeau. Hopefully I got the name correct. He was, while being a young boy and all, his own father was the Prime Minister of Canada, and he came over to Nigeria with his father and met the head of state of Nigeria at that time, which was Yakubu Gowon. And so at an early age, he was already taught that the possibility of ruling a nation was there. He had the parenting example. His father was his mentor, and at that early age he was taught to communicate with these other heads of state. And right now he's the Prime Minister of Canada. It's easy to live out that life when you have a good reference point. And so this week, Tyler, I want you to be very critical about the information that you receive. Does the information build faith, or does it instill fear? Does it give you the impression that you can achieve more, or does it bring to your awareness the limitations and the weaknesses in your life? It could be people. If there are people that are showing you how backward you are, how incapable of doing well, right? These are voices that you need to shut off. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot listen to the constructive criticisms, but any criticism that comes in any form, if it's going to be constructive, it means that at the end of the day it needs to build you. So it could be a correction, but then that correction is it's geared at building you. It's absolutely geared at building you. But if the information you're receiving, right, tells you how wrecked you are alone, then you have to unsubscribe to that voice and begin to subscribe to voices that speak the truth of the dreams and the reality that you want, based on your personality, based on your own vision, and based on your passion. It's really important, because you would always be a reflection of the information, always be the reflection of the most paramount information in your grasp. This is even quite, it's a lot longer than I expected, but I hope it really helps. I end with this. I think I've said that before, but I end with this. A billionaire was once asked, it's just a story. So a billionaire was once asked, what happens if you lose all your money? And he said that he will just do what he did to get the money in the first place. It's absolutely superior information that got him there. So he would only apply what he already knows, what he already believes, what he already subscribes to. And that would serve as his advantage. Simply. So, this week, vet what you listen to, Tyler. Vet what you listen to. Vet who you listen to. Always find yourself in the place of encouragement, a place where hope would be built in you. I'm sure probably next week we may still have to talk a little bit more about this, because there's still a lot more that I'd like to share, but this is getting to like 30 minutes, and I was actually thinking it was going to be short. I just think it's because it's something really important to me. It drives me a lot. Find out what God says about you, Tyler. What God thinks about you. Find out what the people that love you think about you. And then the things that you desire, find people living it, and let that be your focus. Let that be your information. Let that be your source of inspiration at all times, right? So yes, thank you so much. This is pretty long, but I'm sure it would really bless you. Please don't forget to also share this with other people that you believe would have need of this, and then also subscribe to the Instagram page, right? Dear_Tyler, at dear_Tyler. I usually share the captions there and all. And yeah, do have a lovely day, have a lovely week. Remember that I love you and that I'm always rooting for you. Bye.